Have you ever wondered if you could do your own setup and other work on your own guitars? Well, for me, the jury's still out, but I'm learning. Welcome back. I'm Tony, and sure, I've got some very nice guitars, $1,000 plus guitars, but lately I've been venturing into these budget guitars, and there's some really good deals out there and some fantastic guitars. This one here is from Fesley. It is the FDK800, and right out of the box, it was a good guitar, very good guitar, but I wanted to make it great. There was a couple of high frets on it. The neck needed to be adjusted just a little bit, and the frets were a little bit scratchy. Plus, my biggest issue was the fret ends on this were quite sharp, so I wanted to knock those down a little bit and clean it up. Now, in the past, I never really dabbled in that stuff. Mostly that's because I was happy with the guitars when I got them, and I just didn't want to mess with them. And, I was a little nervous about it, but, with these guitars being a little bit less money, well, a lot less money, I figured why not? I'll just go ahead and try doing it myself. Now, I have already reviewed this guitar, and if you want to see that review, that's popping up right over here. And at the time of doing that video, the only thing I really did was adjust the claw. I wanted to bring the bridge so that it was more level and floating just a little bit. I think that's all I did, but yeah, you can go ahead and watch that video. I did check the intonation on this, and it was perfect, surprisingly so, right out of the box, so that was good. Oh yeah, and I adjusted the action just a little bit, just a tiny bit, on a couple of the strings on the bridge itself, just by adjusting the saddles. I'm definitely one of those rabbit hole kind of guys. Once I get into something, I get into it, and well, I started looking at tools for doing your own luthier work, and I don't consider myself a luthier at all. As a matter of fact, this is my first venture aside from the basic things like adjusting your action at the bridge or adjusting the truss rod, or intonation. Those are the things that I've done in the past. So I was like, let me get into this. I found a couple of great companies out there for tools, and let me tell you about the tools that I used for this one. I used a lot of stuff from Nomad, the tri-beam dual notched straight edge, which is great because you've got two different lengths on there and a straight edge, and it's going to be solid because it's like a pyramid there, or a triangle. I used the Nomad S file, which is a fret crowning file. This is a really nice file. It's got some weight to it, it's got a nice grip to it, and it's got two different, well, if you've got either medium narrow frets or if you've got jumbo frets, it's got you taken care of with that, and I'll talk a little bit about more of that when I show you using it. I use the E-file fret end dressing file. A little close-up of that, so you've got two diamond edges on there, which means that you can file both ways, which is good, not just one way with teeth. And it's got flat sides on it to protect your neck, so you technically don't really have to tape up your neck, but you might want to. Nomad work mat, and the Nomad fret rocker with the action gauge. It also has a pickup height ruler, and I got the plus version of it that also has a fret gauge. I use the Nomad neck rest, which also is like a tool holder if you wanted to use it for that. And it's got different sizes on it, so that's cool. And then from StewMac, this is the only place that makes a tool like this, the fret kisser, which I'm not typically going to have to level an entire fretboard, so this is nice because you can do individual frets, and they even show on their website that you could use it with your strings on, which I'm not going to do that. And then some Baroque fret erasers that I bought on Amazon. Gotta tell you, they work okay, but I think I need a better solution. I do have a Dremel tool somewhere around here. I'm gonna dig that thing out and get some polishing wheels for it and some compound. I did treat the fretboard with Dr. Duck's, and I don't even know how old this is. I've had this around here for many years. I don't even know if it's still available. Now, to be clear, I am absolutely new at this, and this is really my first time of using some of these tools, so you get to see a little bit of trial and error, and I'm not claiming to be a luthier. I just want to be able to do this with my own stuff. And sometimes you've got a guitar it's really close to great. You just don't want to have to go pay $150 to go have a luthier look at it. You just want, plus I'm a tinkerer, and like I said, when I jump down a rabbit hole, I jump down a rabbit hole, and that's what I've done with this. So I didn't get too up close and personal while working with this guitar, and I probably missed a few things. At least you'll get an idea of what I did and how each one of those things work. But as I go along and as I learn more, I'm gonna make sure that I do some more detailed videos. And like I say, I didn't want to do some up-close video saying, this is how you do it, if I don't know exactly if I'm doing it right. I think I did pretty good, though, on my first attempt. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what I did film yesterday. All right, so I've already started to tape off the guitar. I wanted to make sure I covered up the pickups, make sure that any metal shavings don't get in there. And I've gone down the neck and identified frets with the fret rocker that might need a little work. There's a tiny little bit of a rock on that one, right there in the middle especially. Yeah, so I've gone down and identified them, and I'm going to go back and mark them with a Sharpie. Just go along that and mark each one of them so I know which ones I need to level. Now, because this is my first time using these tools, like the S file from Music Nomad, that's for crowning, and the fret kisser from Stu Mac, I wanted to make sure I did one of them first. So I've done this fret right here. That one was rocking quite a bit. And I'm not really sure that these fret erasers are the best for this job, but that's what I've got on hand, so we're going to use that today. But this one turned out pretty good, and there is no rock on that one anymore. All right, recrowned with the S file. That's what this one does. It's a crowning file. It has a little bit of a flat spot in the middle, so as you're filing it, it should basically start to skate on top of it when you get to the point where it's properly crowned. I've also got the fret end dressing file, and this one has flat right here. It's nice and smooth, and it's rounded up here so it doesn't point into anything. And then you've got the diamond edges on both sides of that, so we're going to go through and do each one of those. I'm going to finish taping this thing up. What I'm doing is using the Sharpline painter's tape, and of course it's too wide to even fit down here. I put it on a cutting board and used a sharp knife to make these even thinner. So there we go. I do want to point out what I did is just loosen the strings, and I pulled them down to the sides and taped them down there as well. Now I do have a Dremel, and I really don't know how to use it for polishing, so I'm going to look that up. So, you know, I mean, I'm doing as best as I can with these little, I guess, what are they called? Baroque fret string erasers. So they're working okay. I got a nice smooth fret right here. Now these frets don't necessarily need to be leveled, but I figured, well, since I'm learning and I've got this all set up to do it, let's go ahead and level some of them out, right? There are really only a few that need it. This one right here, so I'm going to mark that one. The frets were a little bit scratchy, so I'm going to go ahead and hit each one of those with the fret erasers. A little bit on that one. Now what I'm doing right there is if that end fret was not level, then it would kind of smack it, and it's not doing that. So that one's good too. So I've only really got two of them that I got to mess with, and this one's just in the center there. So there we go. So the fret kisser has flat edges and then a diamond edge, and basically that way I can file just one fret and not have to worry about messing the other ones up. And because it's smooth on these sides, basically it's acting like a fret rocker, and once it gets level, it'll be, you know, just sliding on these two right there, and that one will be level. They're the different sizes, just like a fret rocker, so that you can hit each one of your frets properly. So this one up here was a little bit high, so we're going to use this side of it. We've got those two flat edges and that one right there. Put it right on that. And I can see that my black mark is coming off of there. Check it with the rocker. A little bit of rock over on the end here. There we go, that one's level. I'm going to get my crowner, and what I've done is we've got this little tool that has a little notch on the end of it, and if it fits over it, then it is a narrow fret. If it doesn't fit over it, then it's a wide fret, and I've already checked that, but we'll just show you. So it fits over it, so it's a narrow or medium fret. And then this, you've got two sides on there. You've got wide over here, and you've got the narrow medium, and we're just going to hit that. It really didn't take a whole lot off of that, but we're going to go ahead and crown that. Not quite sliding on it yet. Makes me nervous because, again, I'm really new to this. And that looks like a good crown on there. All right. Now I'm just going to go back with the easy racers, and I'll start with the 180 grit, then the 400 grit, and then the, let's see, the 1000 grit, then the 1500 grit, then the 2000 grit. Should be nice and polished. Then I'll hit that one, and we'll go back and get all these fret ends with the fret end file. And basically all you're doing with that, let's see, let me find one I haven't done yet. This one right here. Just going to take this, we're going to put the file end on it. And there's a little burr that's there, and you just want to knock that off. I'm kind of doing a little rounded move just to keep it rounded. That's really all it takes, just a couple of pushes on that and good to go. And because it has that soft end there, or the flat rounded end on there, it shouldn't damage your neck, but I've got it taped up anyways. Now, I taped up the whole neck because I am going to do all those ends, and I also want to polish all the frets. Side note, I kind of messed up because I can see all the metal shavings on here, and I don't want that to damage my neck. So I'm going to have to go clean this up. I would probably be better off, depending on where I'm working, is to put it at a different point on the neck so that it just falls on the mat and we can clean the mat up. And again, we'll start with the 180 grit, and we'll just work our way down or up. Figured I'd hit those while I was up here with that nice 2000 grit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the rest of these files with the fret end dressing file. Frets, and then I'm going to fix up this one here. I can see that this one here, it's really only high right there. So what you can do is this S file actually has, there's two little marks, one there and one there. So what you can do is actually just get into just that section and be able to get that down. So maybe I can do that without having to hit the whole fret, because this end of it right here was not rocking. There's a couple of these frets that, well, they're a little bit scratchy, so I am going to also polish all of these frets. Well, I think I did pretty good for my first attempt. This guitar was very good, and now I think it's great. I'm very happy with this guitar. And like I said, I will be doing more of this. I've got a bunch of, I would say, budget guitars. As a matter of fact, I've got 4 Firefly guitars that are in my production queue to do videos for. One of them is an Eddie Van Halen striped, basically a Wolfgang tribute or copy. There's a Blueberry Burst Les Paul, an Explorer, and a V. So, if any of those has anything that needs to be done, I'm going to do it. And when a guitar costs 200 bucks, I don't feel too bad taking a risk on them. But just realize that there is some risk. If you mess something up, you're gonna have to take it to a luthier. But if you have to do that, you were gonna do that anyways. The tools are not inexpensive either, so you're gonna make a little bit of an investment. Like the S file was, I think, 89 bucks, and that fret kisser was $100. But you know what? Good tools are going to cost money. That's just how it is. If you've ever done any kind of work with tools, you know that. So yeah, stay tuned and we'll see where this journey takes me. Who knows? Maybe I'll be doing my friends' guitars for them and stuff. I don't know. Hey, I want to thank you so much for your support here on the channel. Likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, always very important to my channel. So if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there. Hit that and the notification bell and you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. Good, bad, ugly. If you've got some pointers for me on things that I can do to make my work better, please feel free to let me know. Oh, and I do want to caution you, if you're buying something like I wanted to buy there's a fret guard that you could put over your neck from Music Nomad, and it's not their fault, but I ordered it from Amazon, and it says right on the package, it's a thin metal thing. This is what it looks like right here. And you just strap it on there so that you don't have to tape your whole neck up. Well, it being so thin, you would think that Amazon would have put it in a separate box, and it even says do not bend right on the box, but when I got it, this is what it looked like. It was bent, so I sent it back and they sent me another one, exactly the same thing except for even worse. So I guess, if it's something that's like that, be careful where you're going to buy it from. You can actually buy these from Sweetwater or a number of other places. And I'll put a link down in the website for both StewMac and for Music Nomad so you can check their stuff out for yourself. Oh, and if you're interested in this guitar, if you want to watch the full review from that, like I said, it popped up earlier over here. I'll put a link down in the description for it as well. Well, it's Friday and I am so ready for the weekend, so I'm going to get on out of here. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.